Tonight we're going to do a question and answer. I haven't done one of these in a few weeks. It's my favorite talk because usually when I talk about something, I just have a tendency to ramble and I just go on. If I'm talking about one thing for 20, 30 minutes, it's just way too much. So I like this because I do like 5 minutes and then we move on to the next thing. So I'm working on being concise. So your questions can be about anything, and if I don't feel like it makes sense in this format, I'll just tell you that doesn't make any sense, and I won't answer it. But something about meditation, something about your practice, something about life, like what does our philosophy say about forgiveness or revenge or whatever it is that you want to ask me about. I have this situation with this person, you know, how should I deal with it, so on and so forth. And I don't have all the answers. You guys, I mean, I look younger than I am, but I'm not that old. And what I have is my experience and, you know, what I've read and what I've listened to Sifu Brown and my other teachers say. This is not the gospel. This is me. This is what I think. And take it, and if it makes sense, use it. And if it doesn't make sense, forget about it. Questions? Leah.
This is an elusive question, but I've always been curious, what really is Zen? And what is your idea of Zen?
Stand over here. Stand over there. You're not in danger of having a heart attack, right? Just turn around this way. You're wearing a jacket, so it's not that bad. Sit down. That's Zen. Now, Buddha Dharma's student asked him, what's Zen? And he chopped off his arm. That's a bastardization of that story, but it's something like that. The Zen is what puts you into the state of Mushin, no mind. And you're right, it's an elusive question. It's an elusive state of mind, but the practice of meditation, the practice of moving meditation like Tai Chi and like Kung Fu and sparring and free grappling, the Japanese tea ceremony, Zen archery, all of these things, it's usually some kind of a combination of body and mind. Even meditation, you're combining right posture and you're not just like laying there thinking. I mean, there's something involving the body and the mind that is getting you to the present moment, to the exclusion of other thoughts. And when I hit you with the stick, in that moment, there is no thought except the sensation of your body. Now, right before I hit you, there's lots of thoughts happening. And right after I hit you and the pain subsided, then you had other thoughts. But that moment of clarity is what you're looking for. That's Zen. And I could try to talk about it for years. And there's no way to get it. You can just experience it. And you might experience it in class by getting hit. You might experience it in a moment of clarity during meditation. I remember what I would call my first experience of Zen was sitting in Sifu Brown's meditation class in Michigan. And it was my first meditation class. And I sat there thinking for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then finally, I remembered, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be meditating. And I allowed my mind to just focus on the breath. And in that moment, everything else melted away. And it was just the breath. And it was just my body breathing. And I wasn't thinking about anything else. And then as soon as I had that moment of clarity, I thought, oh my God, I'm doing it, I'm meditating, this is so great. And then it was gone. And that's usually the way that it goes. And usually when we have our moments of Zen, then we celebrate and ruin it. Just meditate, practice, And Zen is really something that will happen to you. It's not something that you can force. It's something that the harder you search for it and try to force it, the more elusive it is, the less likely it is to come to you. Other question? Here.
Sir, a few years ago I asked you how to get other people in my life to meditate, and you said something along the lines of, if they can see you be an example of happiness, then they'll more likely see that it's effective and beneficial. I feel like I am a very happy person, and I still can't for the life of me connect with other people about meditation, and I want them to want to do it for themselves. How can I get other people to want to do that for themselves?
That's a tough question. So, why do you want them to meditate?
Because I have seen what a dramatic influence it has had on my life, and I see people in my life suffer, and I feel like meditation could alleviate a lot of their suffering.
It's a good reason. Sure, it has nothing to do with you.
I mean, I think it would be great if they did. I would feel happy, yeah.
Why would you feel happy?
Because then I would feel like a collective peacefulness in my relationships with people again.
Oh, okay. So we're starting to hit on something here. You feel like if these other people meditated, they would be fixed to some degree?
Well, for them though. Like if they're experiencing something chaotic in their life and they could go back to the breath, that would make them happier.
It would. Got it.
And also improve every other aspect of
Right.
their life.
Okay. So here's what I'm feeding into you right now. And it's I don't disagree. You are a happy person and you are a wonderful example of that. Absolutely. And this reminds me of when I was talking to Robin about the idea of getting people to come to class. Is on some level we have a tendency to make it about us. And so when I'm talking to somebody about you should meditate, you should practice martial arts, you should do this, you should do that, a lot of times it comes from me and my ego. And when I say I do this, I'm talking about you guys and I'm talking about me because it still happens for me sometimes. Now, nobody has brought more people to the dojo than I have. And I mean like people from my life, my family, my friends, random strangers on the street. Like I bring a ton of people to the dojo. And when I do it the most effectively, it's because I'm not thinking about myself. I'm not thinking about, and this is tough, I'm not thinking about even the success of the dojo. I'm not thinking about, oh, if I don't get this person to come, then I'm a failure. I don't think about, if I don't get them to come, then I don't get the agreement from other people that I'm not weird for meditating and practicing martial arts. And we're always searching for some kind of agreement or this like sense of what I'm doing is not weird. I'm a normal, cool person. And a lot of times when we try to convince other people to do things with us, something that's so important to you like your practice, we get to that state of like, this is really important and I got to get them to do it, and it comes from me to some degree. And you could certainly have this thought in your head of, I want this person to get it for them because it's going to be so great for their lives. And a lot of times there's this other thing also in the way, which is I want them to meditate so that they are less psychotic so that I can deal with them. Or I want them to meditate so that I feel good about what I'm doing in my life. You know, I mean, imagine if everybody meditated and everybody practiced martial arts. First of all, exactly like you said, there would be a collective peace. There would be no traffic in LA. The whole world would be wonderful, and it would be so great. And there would be no part of you that felt weird about talking about what you do, what is martial arts, and like, what are you doing over there every night, and like meditation, are you in a cult, like what's wrong with you, that kind of feeling, right? There would be none of that. But then that would take the fun out of it, wouldn't it? So make sure that as you're talking to people and explaining what meditation is to you, that it's just from the joy of your practice and what you've gotten out of it, and check yourself. Make sure that it's not like, I got to get them to come in here because there's any kind of, validation that I'm seeking from that. Nor is there anything about I'm trying to fix this person. But if you're just totally authentic about, what you've gotten out of your practice, and there is no desperation, I need you to come for me at all, they'll eventually come. That's the other part of it, is we ask somebody once, they say no, and we're like, well, I'm not going to ask them again because that's embarrassing, or they think that there's something wrong with me if I keep asking them. Like, if you ask them every day, they'll eventually show up just to shut you up. And then they'll say, oh, that was fun, I'm going to come back. Or they'll say, that was weird, I'm not going back there again. Whatever. Other question. I had other people raising their hands. What, I just answered your question? Go.
Kind of. The no mind is in. How do you maintain that throughout the day? Once we leave our Zen area and we're out in the world, and there's things are happening, and not focusing on the present or the past, how do you maintain the coolness thing?
The coolness. How do you stay cool out there in life?
In the elevator, being told.
Uh-huh.
We're in the elevator and it almost falls, and it's like, cool, another guy's grabbing on.
Yeah, I got it. So the question is, how do you take the kind of Zen state, that no mind, that calm, collectedness, the confidence in yourself and in the moment, the being present, how do you take that past meditation and past the walls of the dojo? And it's difficult. I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of internal and external environment. And there is your internal environment and your external environment. You have control over your internal environment, or we at least sometimes have control over the internal environment. Your external environment, you have much less control over. Now, you have some control over it, and so you guys are smart when you come to the dojo, and it's like, I like the people there, it's very calm, it smells nice, like everything is cool, muted colors, and I can be very relaxed there. And even in, class where you're punching and kicking, and it's can look from the outside as being aggressive and all this crazy energy, you still find your calm and your peace in that. And then you're absolutely right. As soon as you leave the dojo, your phone rings, you're sitting in the car, you turn on the radio, you're stuck in traffic and you're flipping people off, like whatever it is that happens in life happens, and it totally takes you out of it. That's your external environment. And you cannot stay in the dojo all the time in your external environment. I'm the only person who gets to do that. And even I have to leave because I think it's illegal for me to sleep here. But you can spend more time here, that's great, but that shouldn't be necessary. Ideally, right, you want to be able to take this outside. And there are a couple of things that are going to happen to strengthen your internal environment. Part of it is just time and experience in the dojo, time and experience meditating. Practicing Tai Chi would be a great idea for you too, if you can, find the time. And just the more time that you spend doing these things are going to start to have this long-term permanent effect on you. I tell these two stories to people who come in for Tai Chi. Almost every single person who comes in, I explain that the way that your practice starts to leave the dojo and show up in life are through two avenues. One is you've just practiced it so often that it starts to happen by itself. And I tell the story of when I opened the refrigerator door one day after practicing Tai Chi for a couple of months. I was feeling like I'm getting it, I'm learning the form, I kind of understand what's happening, I'm not overly confused, but what really am I doing? What's the point? And how is this showing up in life for me? Or is it just living there at the dojo when I go to class for a couple of hours a week? I went to open the refrigerator one day without thinking about it. I don't know if you're going to get this on camera, but it was like this. And the door was swinging open, and my eyes were like this. And I thought, that was Tai Chi. It was like the smoothest, coolest thing that I had done. And it was just from what I had been practicing in my body. It just like was automatic. And that's one way, is just what you do more often starts to show up in life. So when you're practicing mindfulness and meditation in the dojo, great. When you're practicing mindfulness and meditation outside the dojo, it's going to start to happen. It's just whatever you do more often. If you're spending your time in this frantic state of mind and you're feeding that, that is what is going to show up. If you're spending more time in this relaxed, calm, focused state of mind, that's what's going to show up. So avenue number one is what you're practicing in the dojo over time shows up. The other is I choose consciously to practice things and maybe even set up like little reminders throughout my day, or choose like, this is something that I'm going to do that is like my practice, that's like meditation, that's like Kung Fu or Tai Chi. And the other story that I tell is one day I was doing the dishes, and I recognized for the first time in my life that I was tense and pissed off as I was doing the dishes. And it was because I was doing the dishes. There was nothing going on in my life that was making me angry. It was just like the dishes were going on in my life. And I thought to myself, this is ridiculous. Why am I so angry doing these dishes right now? So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this like Tai Chi. And I started inhaling as I scrub the dish and exhale as I rinse the dish off. And I'm moving and shifting my weight from the center as I put the dish away. And it was like nobody was there in the apartment, or it would have looked really weird. But it instantly became super enjoyable, like a moving meditation. And in that moment, I was totally present. It was a conscious decision that I made. And it's like I said before, the more time you spend doing things that way, the more likely it is going to show up. And still, life is going to happen. And I'll tell you, still to this day, every once in a while when I go to do the dishes, I'll recognize myself like that, and I'll say, I'm going to go back and do this the way that I do it in Tai Chi. But the problem is that we've been living our lives and building up this internal environment for as long as you've been alive. And you've been in the dojo for a couple of months. So you have all of this training to undo from everything that's been going on. And it is just time and effort, repetition. I suggest a few things that will help you. That is not get in the car and turn on the radio. Actually, just spending time in silence, even if it's not in meditation, will be really good for you. I used to drive an hour to and from my teacher's school in Michigan. And I would sometimes listen to book on tape, and sometimes I would just turn the radio off. And I did that for like months at a time, no radio. And it is incredible the difference that that makes in your state of mind and just the amount of noise that's rattling around in your skull when you are in silence. So those are the types of things that you can do to help manage your external environment. But make no mistake, your internal environment is the thing that is in charge of if you're feeling calm or frantic. And if you're in the moment, or you're focusing on the future, or you're focusing on the past and you're anxious about those things, versus just being present right here, right now. But it's not going to be automatic for a long, long time. So start working on it today. Any other question?
I would love to share that you just made something that's really clear for me coming back from Pasadena today. I'm always listening to audiobooks all the time, different audiobooks, different people all the time. And today I decided I don't want to listen to anything. Just close the windows, just listen to myself, just in the moment. An hour drive when there's traffic, and it's just different how calm. The noises that come through your mind, it's crazy, it's mind-boggling that how you can calm yourself down just through that drive.
Yeah, look, it's pretty easy to find an hour drive when you live in LA. You have this opportunity pretty much every day. And that's what you have to do. You have to build these things into your life, into your routine. And it really is like people tell me all the time, I don't have time to practice. meditation. I have time to practice Tai Chi. I don't have time to practice my form. And it's like you do. What you don't do is make the time. It's literally like 5, 10, 15 minutes a day for your sanity. Just turn off the radio, turn off the TV, and you will be absolutely shocked. And part of it is also just putting it into your day-to-day routine. So think of it like this. I wake up in the morning, I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I meditate. Why do I'm gonna clean my face and I'm gonna clean my teeth, but I'm not gonna clean my brain, really? But that's what we do, right? We ignore this. And this is the most important part of you to clean. When this is calm and clean and clear, then everything else works, to a better degree at least. And you should also brush your teeth and do other hygiene. I don't want you showing up to the dojo all nasty. But I also don't want you showing up to the dojo all freaking out. I mean, do that. If you're freaking out, come to the dojo and we'll calm you down. But it would just be better for you and for your partners if you were just mindful and in the moment as often as possible. Any other question? It could be the end. That's the end. Great timing. So, tonight we're going to sit and let's just simply have perfect control over your internal environment. And guess what? Even in the dojo, you will hear the cars driving by. Sometimes you will hear the sirens driving by. You will hear something weird shaking on the ceiling. It happens all the time. I don't know what that noise is, but it's there. You can hear it right now. Yep. You might hear somebody next to you move. Don't move. So they might do it. There are plenty of distractions. Your body's going to start to ache or itch, and you'll be pulled out of the moment. In that moment, just come right back to the breath. And the dojo is a great place to practice. There's the siren just on cue. Perfect. The dojo is a place to practice this. But the dojo is not your sanctuary. Your practice is your sanctuary, and you can take that anywhere with you. So tonight we're practicing making that strong sanctuary, that strong internal environment where you let nothing in that you don't want there. Sit comfortably.